all set. Okay, ready for Emery? Copy, all set. And cue Emery.
Thank you for joining us from the Paramount Backlot here in Hollywood, California for a very exciting day of announcements. Over the past 6 years at Frame.io, we have been hard at work on improving the way filmmakers and creatives collaborate. We started by solving the editorial review process, and it turns out this was a really big problem for so many of you, even more than we originally thought. The review of editorial work in progress has always been a convoluted workflow, with emails, phone calls, text messages, really everything under the sun. Today, we have an award-winning app that's available across web, iPhone, iPad, and desktop, and we think we've really nailed that editorial review process. I'm pleased to share today that we have over 1 million creatives collaborating in Frame.io. Not only are there a million of you, but you're also doing absolutely incredible and inspiring work. In fact, with our industry-leading security, we now have many of the major studios also collaborating in Frame.io. Jeffrey Katzenberg says, Frame.io has been a game changer for the industry as a whole because it's created the ability to collaborate and share in real time. It really has just changed everything. It is our mission and our privilege to bridge the worlds between technology and filmmaking to bring you unique products that no other company could. Today, we're here to talk about one of those unique products. We're here to talk about innovation in the way that we capture and distribute moving images. You know, when you really think about it, the way that we've captured moving images over the past 100 years has really only changed twice. The first was the transition from film to tape. The second was the transition from digital tape to digital files. Now, digital files are here to stay, but we are standing at the precipice of the next major change in the way that we capture and distribute moving images. And this will be as profound a change as the transition from film to tape and tape to files. To get through this next transition, we need the industry to come together to connect the set to the cloud. Because, you know, as far as technology has taken us over the past decades, the modern set is a little more connected today than it was 20 years ago. Here on the Paramount Backlot, that changes. Over the past 12 months, we've been working with partners across the ecosystem of hardware and software to bring this vision to life. And I'd love to show you. Camera to Cloud will transmit your video and audio files directly from the set as they are recorded to anyone in the world. We're not just streaming a live image into Frame.io, we are capturing uncompressed audio and edit quality H.264 files with source file name and frame accurate timecode. These files are automatically uploaded to Frame.io over a standard LTE network, which could be provided by a mobile phone or standalone LTE hotspot. I want to stress, you do not need Wi-Fi or 5G. This works on today's mobile network. And of course, we've built Camera to Cloud on a foundation of security. These on-set hardware devices securely connect to a designated project within your Frame.io account with write-only access. That means these external appliances will never be able to read or view information in your account. It is a secure one-way tunnel. Once the media is in Frame.io, which is TPM compliant, it is governed by the same security and access controls you've come to trust. If Watermark ID is enabled, each clip will have a visual burn-in that personally identifies each and every one of your viewers. This burn-in is done in real time every time someone views a clip. So this means productions will have whole new levels of creative control by welcoming people into the creative process who may be offset, and by dramatically shortening the time and distance between production and post. Your dailies process is now truly an instantly. Now, we couldn't have pulled this off by ourselves. We've partnered with the industry's best, Teradek, Sound Devices, and Colorfront to bring this vision to life. Camera to Cloud can work on any type of set of any project, from real-time news gathering to the most complex cinema workflows. To tell you more about the cinema workflow, I'd like to hand it over to Frame.io SVP of Innovation, Michael Cioni.
Thank you, Emery. Productions that start to utilize Camera to Cloud technologies are going to open up an entirely new world of possibilities in workflow. When it comes to workflow, that's the name of the game, right? Options, choices, optimization. And this is the type of thing that we want to do. And in order to test this, we thought the best way to do it is to bring a crew together and actually shoot different variations of workflows so that you can watch this and figure out which workflows you want to tailor to the way that you prefer to work. So when it comes to starting this process, it all starts with the Teradek Cube Model 655. This is the first and most important step here because it's the device and Frame.io working together to integrate the camera to the cloud. So in order to set this up, I'm going to hand this over to our DIT Ellen. While she sets that up, we're going to go into the Frame.io iOS app, and we can see there's a new button here for cloud devices. When I look at cloud devices, I have the option here to add a new device. This is now going to give us a secure and easy way to connect to the Cube. The Cube UI gives us a 6-digit code. So when I get that code, I can type that in, and now it's going to automatically bind this device through my user into Frame.io. When I choose to authorize that, I have another level of security where I could set an expiration date for the Cube. So if I knew the date that the production was going to conclude, I could preset that up so that I could have the Cube automatically disconnect itself from the project. Now, there are 2 new things in the Frame.io app to show you in conjunction with the Cube. The first is going to be a live feed. So here we can go to a live feed and see our actors cam on camera transmitting offset. This is something that people can see anywhere in the world and be able to look into the set, what's happening right here. The second advantage is being able to do proxy recording so that you can take takes automatically captured by the cameras and transmitted into the cloud for people offset as well. Speaking of transmission, we probably want to do this wirelessly, right? So if we look over here at Dana's camera, she's got a DXL2 and she's got a Bolt 3000 XT. The XT model is necessary for this because it transfers relevant metadata that allows us to get timecode and file name all the way to Ellen's card on her XT receiver. When we get to her XT receiver, DITs and DPs can still add their looks into their system, and it will pass that data into the Cube and publish it right to the cloud. So the Cube is a great place to live on a DIT card, but if you have traditional video assist, like on Sean's card over here, here we can have traditional video assist playing back everything on the set the way that you're normally doing. Nobody on the crew has to change their behavior or do anything different in order to make this work. Sean's got a Cube as well. He's transmitting the other camera, and he's got a hotspot here, transmitting that up to the cloud. So we mentioned this is automatic, and we mentioned this is fast, right? So how automatic and how fast is it? Well, we're going to set ourselves up in order to roll a take. And so in order to do that, we're going to get next to Rachel and Jen Hugh, who are setting up their A and B cameras so that we can get ready to roll a take.
Roll camera.
Base speeds. 12 Hector, take 1, 80 common mark.
So remember that there, that's 12 Hector, take 1. So we just started rolling a take. Now, we're doing everything you see here off LTE. This is not a Wi-Fi based system. You could use Wi-Fi if you wanted, but we chose to use LTE because it's so readily available. While this take is going, the cubes have been triggered and now they're capturing the files into their hard drive. So if you have a network interruption, it will always be able to redo that file after the take is finished or the network comes back. So let's cut. So now that we've cut that file, it has triggered the upload process to begin. And now those files for A and B camera are making their way into the Frame.io cloud and being transmitted through the pipeline so we can view them offset. So let's transition now to being somewhere else. So now that we're going to go back in here, we're going to look at sort of an offset experience. What do we want to do offset? Well, we want to look at playback. We want to look at VTR review. We want to look at making notes. And we want to see different ways to see the clip no matter where we are in the world. So what I have here is a Frame.io iPad. I'm looking at the iOS app. I can click on my camera, and it's going to load all the takes that we've shot. Here is the take that we just recorded, and so I have that file right here, 12H take 1. This is the file that we just recorded, playing back in Frame.io that I can share it, watch it, comment it, anything like that, and I'm able to do that anywhere in the world because this is now in the cloud and transmitted anywhere offset. So that quickly, I have a camera-triggered automatic file delivered. But we also mentioned that there's time code and there's file name and things like that. And this is where I think the most interesting part is, because some of my mentors always told me the key is to reduce anxiety on a set and increase creative control. Well, one of the most important places to do that is the relationship between a director and an editor. And because we have metadata-rich information inside these files, we can transition now into editorial. So we've got Jamie setting up a simulated editorial setup here. And what we've got here is a Mac Pro, and the first app you see here is Frame.io Transfer. Frame.io Transfer is a bulk downloader that allows you to move the files quickly, and he can download them in bulk into his Avid Nexus. Then he can go into Avid, and when he opens up the file, he can look at the clip. Here's the clip that he just got, 12H take 1. We've just transferred the files from the set into the cloud, into Avid, so we can instantly do a rough cut. So you notice that we actually had sound on some of these clips, and that's a great question. How did we get sound there? So we're going to try another workflow, and there's going to be two changes to it. One, we're going to follow the sound, but we're also going to do a log clip. So we're going to turn around here, and we're going to go to the set, and we're going to get ready to shoot another take. And now we're going to be looking at the DXL feeding log into the cube. So let's roll our next take.
Roll cameras. Speed, speed, speed.
12 Hector, take 2, AB comment mark.
So 12H take 2. So now that we're feeding a log signal, the reason we do this is because if the labs that want to do dailies want to use clean files, they can actually get a log signal. You can feed that into a Teradata cube, and it will transmit into Frame.io in a log space. So now that we have that, we can cut our take. But that still doesn't explain how we do sound. So the exciting part here is another integration, and it's an industry first. What you have here is Sound Devices, another new partner, and Sound Devices makes the field recorders for the best professionals in the field. And so this is the 8 series recorder. The one we have here is an 888. It also works with a Scorpio. This works similar to the Cube in that you authenticate using your iOS device, you get a 6-digit code, and now you're recording onto your hard drive, and you're integrated into Frame.io. So while Callie's rolling, she's actually capturing it locally. So the same hard drives and SSDs inside the 8 series are still at work, and you have your uncompressed audio locally stored. But when she hits cut, that file automatically loads itself into Frame.io, and it's able to essentially make another backup, another copy that's already available in the cloud for everybody to work with. So these are some new integrations that are really, really powerful, that are totally industry first. In fact, this is the first professional field audio recorder that can publish its sound uncompressed, broadcast PCM linear audio into the cloud. So the problem I see now is we've got a lot of files being created, right? We've got audio files, we've got video files. That's going to create folders, and we have different shoot days. How do we keep track of all those things? Well, that's a fair question, because when you don't want the crews to have to deal with a lot of elements in making sure that there are ways to kind of keep track of all this. So we have a system here called fixed file structure. And what Derek's got on his computer is a picture of Frame.io. The crews do not have to do any of this folder management. Frame.io does that automatically. Here we see all these shoot days. We can click on the shoot day here. Inside of it, we see 3 folders. The first one is our video folder. This is where the cube automatically uploads and generates these folders. Here's our A and B camera directories. All of our clips automatically load themselves into this space. The next one we see is an audio folder. This is where Sound Devices. Every time Kelly rolls a take, it automatically publishes the audio into a Sound Devices directory. But you notice there's a third directory here. This is called AV Sync. Now, what we're doing that's unique here is we actually have 3 assets at play. We have audio, and we have an A camera and a B camera. Those 3 assets, when they have overlapping timecode with jam timecode, which is what we're using here, those files actually find each other as siblings and automatically sync themselves in Frame.io. The reason that's pretty cool is because we're also chopping off the extra audio to match the video format, and it's putting the audio on both A cam and B cam, and it's labeling the file to the scene and take name. So we're getting that from Callie naming the scene and take, and we're transmitting that into these files. So it's way easier to go to AV Sync and actually see your dailies already made with sound and picture and scene and take name included. But then we talked about the labs and wanting that log file. So here we can go into other integration with the company ColorFront. ColorFront is the leading dailies program for professionals. And what we have here on Rob's computer is the proxy sent into ColorFront. Now, ColorFront is got the new and improved Express Dailies version. This Express Dailies application is now cloud-based. So you can access Frame.io in the cloud and even render from cloud to cloud. In this case, Rob's got the file. He can input color and CDLs if he gets that from the DIT. He can also add timecode and window burn and watermarks and things like that. All of this is put in together, plus automatic sound syncing, because it's already got Callie's audio in here as well. All of these things are working together, and now we can set it up to render. When Rob renders here, he's rendering an Avid file and a web SDR H.264 file. He's also rendering a 4K H.265 HDR daily. So we can render all these things from Camera to Cloud. However, if you want to render those files from the original camera files instead of proxies, ColorFront lets you do that as well. Because ColorFront can read the Frame.io cloud. If you uploaded original camera files or OCF into Frame.io, ColorFront can use the proxy to generate all your dailies project and then relink it to the original camera file and render your dailies from there. Speaking of original camera files, we also can take that all the way into Conform. The very last part of the process is our Conform. And what we are looking at here is Resolve. On the left, you see Jamie's offline edit from Media Composer, which used the Camera to Cloud proxies to actually create his offline. On the right, we reconformed that using the timecode and file name to 8K RAW, and now you're seeing a full 8K Conform, all generated from the cloud. Now, we somehow managed to show this entire pipeline, and the first thing is thank this amazing crew for being able to do it essentially in one take. And special thanks to David Shaw, who ran the Steadicam this whole time, and this is not the first crew to actually do Camera to Cloud. In fact, what I want to do now is introduce you to a good friends of ours, the very first feature film to shoot Frame.io Camera to Cloud.
I think what makes the movie business attractive to everyone around the world is the notion that we're storytellers. 10,000 years ago, we were storytellers. And it helped us understand who we are and why we are here, and what to expect from our lives, and how to process our emotional feelings. It is a fundamental part of who we are as a species.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors.
So in the height of the pandemic, Adam called me. I worked with Adam. He was the president of Paramount. And he goes, would you like to make a movie right now? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, no, let's make a movie right now about the experience we're all going through. And I'm like, it's a good idea. Let's try it.
There was something really compelling about telling a story about what's happening in the world today, but it's what if it gets worse?
Whoa, 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 I'm immune! I'm immune!
Hey gang, Jason here. I'm in Santa Monica going for the first COVID test of the actual production.
Frame.io provided us a tool set to apply to the COVID-driven film set that allowed us to overachieve what we could have done without their services.
I'm so excited that all you guys have joined us on this thing. You guys are the crew that's getting to open up Hollywood again.
The paradigm shift that the pandemic has created for us will have ripple effects on the entertainment business, not just over the next 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, but really forever.
One of the biggest innovations that came around was Frame.io, in that we could be on set without being on set, with the ability to wirelessly transmit what came out of that camera on set, send those dailies to our DIT's cart, and then they would go out through an encoder and become part of the cloud that everybody shared. The process is instantaneous. I mean, I'd never seen anything that fast. When I saw it, I knew it was a Ferrari.
Yeah, you told the Griffins I was at their house. It's okay, Lester.
There weren't many people on the actual set. It was me and the actors, Jack, the DP, camera assistants, absolute bare bones crew. And I remember we started doing this scene with Craig Robinson, and I started getting texts from Adam Goodman. After the first take, my phone lights up. Can you put these Christmas lights in the background of the scene? I think it would look good. And it suddenly occurred to me that everyone was able to see what I was filming as I was filming it, which was just amazing.
I wasn't able to go to the set. I wasn't able to, give feedback to our filmmakers in real time, but for the fact for Frame. Otherwise, I would have had to kind of wait to see a movie and just hope that it was good enough.
It was so much more relevant to me to see it as it was being shot, as opposed to watching a replay 24 hours later.
If I have a note on a scene and I'm the producer and I give it to the director after they broke the scene and they left, it's no value. But if I can give them while they're still in the scene, we can capture that note.
It was quite scary at first because I was just like, well, anyone can see what I'm doing? Okay. But then it very quickly became one of the handful of great tools that we had at our disposal that made this movie possible.
Even people who are resistant to technology have been able to embrace Frame.io because the user interface is so intuitive, especially under the pressures of being on a film set. You don't need the instructions.
Action!
I can be anywhere, I can go anywhere, I can get in my car and do something, and I can feel really confident that I'm not missing anything in the office or on set.
Frame.io is going to change everything. I think once people get a load of this, they're never going to want to be without.
They provide you dailies, they provide you Insta access to what you see on the set, what's happening on the set. They provide control systems for filmmakers to control what people see and how they see it and what the timing is and who sees it. There really is a tool now that I believe can get us to the next level.
What the Songbird team did with Camera to Cloud marks an important first step into a whole new world of possibilities. Okay, I'd like to now turn our attention to the nonfiction world. Many of you told us you needed a faster way to get nonfiction content to editorial for projects that demand little to no delay between capture and exhibition. For content that is captured anywhere across the globe, needing extremely fast turnarounds, Camera to Cloud enables productions in any location to deliver footage directly to your editor's NLE. To dive deeper into workflows for unscripted segments, here again is Michael Cioni.
We wanted to talk about the flexibility that Camera to Cloud offers. And we did that in our cinema workflows that show even a lot of complex variations that you can do. But we also want to show you how simple this can be. So we have a setup here simulating an interview. So we can cut our cameras here. And let's just look at how simple this can actually be. Here I've got a Teradek Cube, and I have an off-the-shelf LTE hotspot. I can connect that over USB, and when I do that, I actually have a setup that I can authenticate with Frame.io, and I could be shooting to the cloud virtually anywhere in the world. In fact, I kind of have a backup because I could use my phone, which is an exceptional hotspot solution that's always with me. And I basically have a solution no matter where I am. Now, can be very, very handy for people that are in a very, very fast turnaround situation. So in this interview setting, for example, we've got an mirror set up, the audio going directly into the camera, and then we've got a Sony FS7. So let's just talk about how we would want to deliver this to post for someone that really needed it very quick for a fast turnaround. So we can go over to our post simulation setup here. Here we've got Adobe Premiere Pro. The Adobe Premiere Pro panel is an access point directly into the Frame.io cloud. So our clips are already here in cloud devices, our date, we see our video folder, and then we've got our two cameras already delivered into the Premiere Pro panel. We can see those files, we can play them back, and we can even import them if we wanted to work with that. This is a very fast way to get files directly there with total automation. But there's another solution that we could do with Final Cut Pro 10. So if we go over into Final Cut, we can see here our files here. So Rob's setting this up here. We've got our clips. We can load those into Final Cut right through the Final Cut Pro workflow extension. And inside here, we've got a delivery. Now, one of the nice things about the Final Cut extension is that you have the ability to upload the raw file into Frame.io as well. And Final Cut has a one-touch proxy mode relink, which is really, really nifty because you could just use one button instead of a conform to switch between the Camera to Cloud Instant Daily Proxy and the original camera raw file. So that is a super fast solution for people on a tight turnaround. Now, we've been testing this with several friends over a long period of time this year, and so I want to introduce you to one of our productions that we collaborated on that had a very specific need for an ultra-fast turnaround.
The reason we're here at Sundance is to support the art of cinematography. So we do a series of interviews at Sundance talking about the breakdown of these different projects, and we're producing that ourselves.
The typical turnaround time for a project such as this is going to be about 5 days. With Frame.io, we were able to get this footage in my hands as it's being shot, and I was able to edit it right away without me being on set.
When we first started this series a couple of years ago, the workflow was extremely clunky. Overnighting drives, making sure that the right pieces and clips got to people. How are we going to communicate? It was all very piecemeal, and we found a lot of challenges in the speed to market with that series.
It's important to promote these videos in real time as the festival is still happening. Films are buzzing, so you really want to capitalize on that moment.
You have a very short window of when everybody's talking about the movies here at Sundance, and we want to capture that momentum, which means we need to have products edited and finalized within weeks rather than months.
Hopefully by the end of the week, we already have a promo that's ready to go, that we're not waiting forever to get done. We're recording in camera. Simultaneously, there's a Teradek that's encoding our exact footage with the same file names, same time code, same metadata into H.264 files and automatically upload it into Frame.io. And right away, Brian, our editor, who's in Los Angeles while New York City, Utah, is instantaneously seeing the clips as they come in. And he's seeing them as quick as we can see them here. So I can log into my MacBook Pro and I'm looking at the clips right away too, also checking the audio, check the visuals, making sure they're okay, making sure we're getting all the content that we need. And he at the same time can start making editing decisions.
We're all able to talk to each other and see notes live and all be on the same page. It's much more efficient.
Working with this new technology with Frame.io enabled me to be a lot more creative.
It's super fast. It's happening in the background all the time, rather than having to wait to send drives to somebody when we're leaving the venue. It's that fast.
No matter the production size, I can see this tool being so beneficial for all sorts of filmmakers in that you have instant access to the media that you just captured.
Everything is available, instantaneously accessible, and creativity can start quicker. And in filmmaking, when you can cut out labor and go straight to creativity, you can spend more money on creativity, which means you got more money to actually make the film look good than to worry about how you're gonna get it done. And that is the trick for the future.
Indeed, that is the trick. We want you investing in creativity and creative control, and that is truly the foundation of why we built Camera to Cloud. We are so thrilled to be working with industry leaders, Teradek, Sound Devices, and Colorfront. When it comes to wireless video transmission, audio capture, and post-production dailies, there really is no one better. The world wants and needs a more connected set, but this is not a mission that we can achieve alone. And so along with the Camera to Cloud product announcement today, we are also announcing a new set of developer tools to enable any hardware or software tool to become part of the Camera to Cloud ecosystem. To learn more about our developer platform, I'd like to hand it over to Frame.io Director of Engineering, Keedy Gross.
Thanks, Emery. No two productions are exactly alike, and a big part of what makes Frame.io so unique is our ability to integrate with so many of your favorite workflow tools. With Camera to Cloud, Frame.io will act as a centralized hub for the on-set tools you use every day. Our goal is to create a bridge to connect every on-set tool to the Frame.io cloud, enabling faster and more streamlined access, accelerating handoffs, and ultimately improving security in the asset chain of custody. But we can't do it alone. Our development program is designed to inspire all of us to work together as we innovate an entirely new path to connect the set to the cloud. To enable this next generation of innovations, we have extended the Frame.io API with endpoints designed specifically for embedded systems. We are providing in-depth documentation along with reference implementations in C++, Python, and Go to jumpstart your integration. To learn more, we invite you to explore our developer tools at developer.frame.io. Integrations are already underway, and I'd love to share an inside look at the first partnerships of Frame.io Camera to Cloud with you now.
Technology is the ultimate enabler, but it's also the ultimate disruptor. And eventually, technology will level any playing field.
In my experience, the biggest technological breakthrough was the switch from photochemical acquisition to digital acquisition.
The invention of nonlinear editing.
The internet.
Film to digital. What's in the future is cloud workflow.
The cloud is going to be everything.
The cloud is inevitable.
Finally, we are going to be able to achieve the holy grail of delivery to post-production.
Teradek and Frame.io have been working together in some way for actually many years to innovate new solutions, simplify collaboration in filmmaking.
I think each of us have always focused on one part, but combined, we address the whole equation.
We come into work every day and try to make other people's lives much easier.
Essentially, we're providing our customers with another choice of how they want their workflow to progress.
We both like to be on the bleeding edge of technology. We're always trying to do things that no one's done before.
We see where things are going to be in 3, 5 to 10 years, and we think that together we can achieve a common goal.
Teradek is a respected brand on the film set. We're ubiquitous with our boxes that are handling video.
We want to build a product that disappears on set. You just hit record on the camera and you hit stop and the file shows up in the cloud. What we've been doing is engineer to engineer, we've been working on integrating the two different platforms to have that seamless handover from the camera to the cloud.
The way this works between the Sound Devices 8 series and the Frame.io cloud is very simple.
The audio file recorded to your 8 series recorder is not streamed to Frame.io. It is recorded entirely to the hard drive and the SD card within the recorder. It is then uploaded as a file to Frame.io. The result is an exact copy of the one that's on your hard drive.
Colorfront is a software technology company. We specialize in daily software.
You can run Colorfront Express dailies in the cloud and connect to a Frame.io project and then playback and work remotely without even having a computer locally. You can instantly transcode in QC from a Frame.io project inside of Express dailies without having to wait for media to arrive.
One of the advantages to the technology is it allows our Colorfront end user to get closer to the people on set that they're constantly communicating with and have color accurate, fast, effective dailies in a way that's never actually been possible before.
This technology is groundbreaking because it will allow people that cannot be on the set to be a stakeholder earlier in the whole creation process.
It's going to enable creators to make cooler and cooler stuff.
The ability for filmmakers to have continuous uploading of proxy files is going to speed up production, speed up the ability to collaborate and review files.
It shortens the time frame, which allows the creative user to actually make adjustments for what their final output could be in a faster, more effective way.
It should be transparent to people that they're actually using the cloud. It should be as if they're on set, looking at the proxy just seconds after the director said cut. The fact that they might be zip codes of countries away shouldn't matter.
The days of handing over an SD card or CF card, a physical piece of media, and waiting a few days before anything can be done with it are over.
I am really excited to see all the hardware and software tools that you can connect to the set. Camera to Cloud will be compatible with more than a dozen of the most important cameras on the market, including professional camera systems from Red, Arri, and Sony. This will be a great start to many of the cameras you use daily, and we'll be adding more cameras to the supported list as we go. Let's talk pricing and availability. We all know that time is money, and managing shuttle drives has a significant effect on the time it takes for a cutting room to begin working. Camera to Cloud essentially eliminates the delay and expense of shuttling offline media for editorial. So we asked ourselves, how much would this be worth? Well, the calculation we came up with was a lot. So Camera to Cloud will cost the price of a Frame.io plan. It'll be shipping in March, and it will be included with all paid Frame.io plans, Pro, Team, and Enterprise at no additional cost. For live streaming capabilities, Camera to Cloud will be available later this year as an add-on plan, but it will work with the same Teradek Cube 655. And lastly, for productions that need Camera to Cloud for a limited time engagement, we have new flexible contracts for our highest tier enterprise plan, which includes all the security features you need for the most sensitive pre-release content. We have also partnered with two of the world's premier rental facilities, Panavision and Able Cine, who will be able to support the complete Camera to Cloud setup on day one. They'll be providing everything you need to get spun up on your next production, so please give them a call. So, to use Frame.io Camera to Cloud on launch day, you would minimally need a Teradek Cube 655, one of our supported cameras, a Frame.io plan, and a standard Wi-Fi or LTE hotspot. You can run audio directly into the Cube, or add the Sound Devices 8 series to get full quality production audio into Frame.io. We really hope that you're as excited as we are to build the next generation connected set. Today is just the beginning of a long investment to transform the way we work. Thanks to our partners, and thank you for joining us. We can't wait to see what you'll make with Frame.io Camera to Cloud. Have a great day.